Parliament makes you president of Sri Lanka and you stabilize the economy, you get a new IMF loan, you bring inflation down from 70% to 1.3% within a year. And then you lose the presidential election. You lose badly. You came third last September. Why do you think, despite that record, the Sri Lankan people rejected you so overwhelmingly?
But I'm not here to explain why I lost or something. I'm going to say, well, I'm quite happy I did the job.
Okay,
and
let's talk about
country back.
So let's talk about how you did the job.
Yeah.
Some would say that you had an opportunity to listen to young protesters who were out on the streets in Sri Lanka, and you squandered it. You claimed to be a, quote, friend of the people, you said. But within hours of becoming president in the summer of 2022, you called in the military, you told them to do, quote, whatever is necessary to restore order, and then they violently cracked down on protesters. How is bringing in the military being a friend of the people?
No one disregarded the views of the young people. You had to restore order. What will you do if the parliament is being taken over by a mob here? If a mob walks into the parliament, is that democracy or not?
I mean, Amnesty International say that outside of your office, 944 tear gas grenades were used by police against protesters.
Look,
30 people were injured, one protester was reported dead.
Amnesty International is discredited in our part of the world.
The European Union says there was unnecessary violence against protesters in Sri Lanka, the unwarranted use of force against peaceful demonstrators.
The European Union had funded some of the agencies and they called for my resignation. The same union thereafter praised me as the man who took Sri Lanka out of economic crisis. Look,
that kind of undermines your argument. You like it when they praise you, but not when they criticize you.
I don't like them when they play.
You just quoted them praising you.
Okay,
I got another one for you. You made your answer. I got another one. You don't like the EU, you don't like Amnesty. UN human rights experts condemn the extensive, prolonged, repeated use of state emergency measures to crack down on peaceful protesters.
I'm sorry, I like
the UN Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights.
Look, I like the EU.
You don't like the UN?
I did not talk about the UN.
Well, I quoted the UN to you. You're still talking about the EU. We moved on from the EU.
Okay. Look, you finish everything you want to say about the UN, the League of Nations, the British Commonwealth, and then tell me after that I will answer.
Okay.
I have been in politics before you were born.
I know. I think I said that. I mean, you don't like the EU, you don't like the UN, you don't like Amnesty. So let me ask you about. Am I allowed to ask a question?
I wanted to correct one thing. I didn't say I don't like the EU.
Okay.
But we have now come to a stage in the world.
Okay. We cannot spend all night discussing your views of the EU.
Okay, then. Okay.
Let me ask you about. You made it clear. You reject all of these groups.
If you don't want me, I'm prepared to leave. If I'm not dancing to your tune, I can leave. Maybe.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you flying here for this, even though you want to leave in the first 5 minutes. But let me ask you this: when you became president in 2022, the mantra at the time was "Go to go home," which was Gotabaya Rajapaksa, the president. His shoes, you filled them, he fled in July. You've always maintained publicly that you oppose the Rajapaksas, the family that have dominated Sri Lankan politics for 20 years, but your nickname for a lot of people online, as you know, is Ranil Rajapaksa. You've been Prime Minister or President on and off for over 30 years. What have you done to hold the Rajapaksas responsible for their alleged corruption and many other crimes? Why do you say you're opposed to them when you're clearly not?
Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa prosecuted, was released by court. Basil Rajapaksa was prosecuted, Namal Rajapaksa was prosecuted, Yoshita Rajapaksa was prosecuted.
There's a name missing from your list.
What's the list?
Mahinda Rajapaksa.
So they have to find evidence. No, it's not I who do it. Like your country.
I mean, there's allegations that he took $7 million from a Chinese corporation. You know there are many crimes they're accused of.
Look, in my country, it's the Attorney General who's not a political figure who decides on prosecution. We can only send the evidence before him. Attorney General decided what cases you should prosecute.
Many people think you're covering up for them.
I am not. Is the Attorney General? I am not the Attorney General.
Gotabaya Rajapaksa, you become president, he leaves the country. I think he went to the Maldives, and then he came back, and you didn't do anything.
He could come in. There's no charge against him. How can I? I'm not a dictator.
Rajapaksa's party actually made you president. It's a massive conflict of interest.
No.
Who made you president?
No.
Who made you president in 2022?
The members of parliament from both sides.
Let's talk about one of the key moments in your political career. April 21st, 2019, Sri Lanka is hit with a series of brutal suicide attacks on Easter Sunday, killing more than 260 people. I wonder, what about your personal responsibility as Prime Minister of Sri Lanka? Have you considered a personal apology? Do you want to offer one here tonight?
I've offered my apology and finished, Mahdi, and nothing more. The Supreme Court has cleared me.
But listen to what the head of the Catholic Church in Sri Lanka said. He said, quote, "It is clear that Islamist extremists carried out the attack But there were other forces behind them. We have to conclude that the Ranil Wickramasinghe government is trying to protect them.
I am dealing with what is called the Catholic Bishops' Conference. All this have been given to them. They have not made any other comment.
They're all against the entire Catholic Church is saying you failed them.
No, this is what the Cardinal has said in regard to this inquiry, not anything else.
Yes, the head of the Conference of Bishops.
Who?
Bishop Harold Anthony Pereira.
Yes, so?
He says he wants an independent inquiry, and he supports Cardinal Malcolm Runjit, the head of the church, who says that you did not take requests seriously for an independent investigation, and what you commissioned...
I know that. We know the politics of the Catholic Church.
The politics of the Catholic Church. They lost hundreds of people in suicide attacks, and you're obsessed with it.
We know that. It's a question.
Is everything a game to you?
Sorry, you're going off your head at this rate. I appointed a committee which no one...
And quote, the committee was not worth the paper it was written on. That's the head of the Catholic Church of your country.
You know, all nonsense he's talking of.
The head of the Catholic Church is talking nonsense.
Yes.